Okay, all right, I'm back indoors. We are back indoors. And so right now, we're dealing with some things in our environment that we cannot control, but that's okay. My computer was having some technical issues as always. What happened was for some reason my microphone wasn't working, so I had to come indoors. Right now I'm using my the microphone that I record with. This is a microphone that I have blessed many and many a time. You know what? We need some better lighting than this. Let me get 1 second. I'm gonna just pause this, get my light. We back at it. We doing much better. The lighting is better. The energy is better. First of all, thank y'all all for showing up here. And today what we're gonna break down is we're gonna talk about two topics. Actually, we're gonna continue the Quantum Bible series, and we're gonna break down two topics. So the first topic we're gonna break down is the tree of knowledge. Second topic that we're gonna break down is going to be the Christ. It's gonna be Christ, the morning star. So I think this is gonna be an interesting one, very interesting one. So let's begin from the beginning. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, it tells a story in the first and second chapter. It tells the story of the creation of Adam, man, Eve, the woman, and their fall from grace and their expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Now, in this story, God created man. Man was in the world alone as the only conscious being. So he had all these animals around, but he couldn't connect with them, couldn't talk with them, couldn't build with them, and there was no one with whom he could share his love and his consciousness, his awareness. And so God created a partner for him, a collaborator for him, and called it woman, called it Eve. Eve, the woman, um, was led astray by a serpent in the Garden of Eden and was tempted to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which God forbade. Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and immediately became more conscious, more aware, and started to decide for herself what was right and what was wrong. And the first thing she decided was that she needed to cover herself because she realized at that moment she was naked. Adam soon appeared, and when Adam appeared, he spoke to her and was amazed that she had defied God himself. But she actually was able to convince Adam to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil as well. And once Adam ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he began to think for himself and decide for himself what was right, what was wrong. God appeared and was outraged that they had defied him. And so he expelled them from the Garden of Eden. And then in front of the tree of life, which if you eat from the tree of life, you have immortality. In front of the tree of life, he sent two cherubim, two angels, to stand guard in front of the tree of life with a flaming sword to kill anyone who tried to get to the tree of life. Now, as I've been saying in the Quantum Bible series, all of these stories are highly symbolic. So I wanted to analyze the symbolism of the tree of life. And I came across something very interesting. I'm going to share my screen with you guys really quickly. And let's see what we got here. Trying to find the image that I wanted to share. And I don't see it here. Where is it? This is ridiculous. Give me 1 second. Okay. So the image that I'm sharing with you now says I'm sharing it here. The image that I'm sharing with you now is an image of the image that I found of. It's a quote from Manly P. Hall, who was an occultist. He was initiated into a wide variety of secret orders and gained a lot of secret knowledge. And I found an interesting quote from him. He says, there are two great systems in the body, the tree of life, which is the arterial with its roots in the heart, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the nervous system, which has its roots in the brain. These two trees are physical manifestations of a complicated network of branching energy currents in the aura of the super physical body. So what does he mean by that? Essentially, what he's saying is that the symbols of the tree of knowledge and the tree of life are symbols for the central nervous system and the arterial system in the human body. So these systems that we have, if you look at them, they look like trees. They look like the roots of a tree and the tree coming out of the ground. So that's a symbol for your own inner workings. Your own inner workings are the details and the symbols that are being used in this story. So the tree of life is in you. It is your heart, which pumps blood and gives you life and keeps you alive. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, central nervous system, because your brain is a part of the central nervous system. And so your knowledge of good and evil exists there within that tree. And it sends information throughout the entire body. The central nervous system consists of your brain, it consists of the spine, and it consists of a wide network of nerves, neurons that go throughout the entire body. So your brain, what you know and how you feel, is sending signals throughout the entire body. So your knowledge of good and evil is what sends signals and controls your behavior and controls how your body behaves. So basically what we're saying is your knowledge of good and evil controls how the central nervous system works. And so if you're an individual who all your thoughts are dark, all your thoughts are anxious, all your thoughts are laden with sadness and depression, and your brain is sending those signals throughout the body. So cortisol levels will rise. Other hormones in the body will rise, can cause sickness and suppress the immune system. So what begins to happen is you begin to slowly but surely become disassociated or disorganized or distorted in the way you think. So you lose the knowledge of good and evil. You can't think clearly when your thoughts have been contaminated in such a way, and then your body becomes sick, and that affects the tree of life which exists within you. You understand that the more your thoughts are laden with negativity, and your knowledge is dark, and your knowledge is sinister, and your knowledge is weighing you down and not helping you to feel alive, what happens is the tree of life is denied to you. The tree of life is denied to you, and you begin to get sick, and you begin to slowly but surely die. If a person suffers from depression, people who suffer from depression are more prone to physical illness. They're denying themselves access to the tree of life. Also, I wanted to break down something else for you guys. The tree of life, right? I'm going to share this with you. It says that in front of the tree of life, there were cherubim. There were cherubim that were there. And the Bible describes the cherubim as a being that has four faces. So you'll see here, this is a depiction of a cherubim. One face is the face of a lion. This is an ox. This is I think it's supposed to be some kind of I thought it's supposed to be an eagle. And then the face of a man. I want you to keep that in mind. So inside your brain, the largest part of the brain is the cerebrum. The cerebrum is divided into two sections. If you look at the story, there were two cherubim that stood in front of the tree of life to protect it from anybody who would invade the Garden of Eden. So you have two cherubim and you have two sections of the brain, two sections of the cerebrum. You have the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Cerebrum being the biggest part of the brain. You have an angel on the right, angel on the left. Guarding the tree of knowledge. In between those angels, they're holding a flaming sword. Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, let's break this down a little bit further. This is the cerebrum. As you can see here, the cerebrum has two sections, right hemisphere, left hemisphere. You have a cherubim on the right, cherubim on the left. Now, these cherubim have four faces each. And then right here within the cerebrum, there's four sections. And the right hemisphere and left hemisphere of the cerebrum, the four sections of the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. So once again, we see the symbology of the Bible reflecting once again upon our own bodies. So you have a cherubim you have two cherubim guarding the tree of life, just like your brain is guarding the tree of life within your body, right? The right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Now, what do these different sections of the cerebrum, what do they do? Well, these four sections of the cerebrum, you have the frontal lobe, which controls movement, speech, and some of the functions of the mind like behavior, mood, memory, and organization. Temporal lobe play an important part in memory, hearing, speech, language. The parietal lobe plays an important part in taste, touch, temperature, and pain, also in the understanding of numbers and the awareness of body and feeling of space. And the occipital lobes are vital for being able to see clearly. So if you look at the symbology of the four faces of the cherubim, and you see that there's four regions of the right and left hemisphere, the cerebrum of the human brain. So the cerebrum, the two hemispheres of the cerebrum are the two cherubim that are guarding the tree of life in the story of Adam and Eve. Now, we're going to go a step further and we're going to really analyze this. So what is that basically telling us? Well, the flaming sword that exists between those two angels, the flaming sword is the corpus callosum, which connects the right and left hemispheres of the brain. The right and left hemispheres of the brain actually have to communicate to each other in order for you to get things done. And what happens when the signals being sent from the left and right hemispheres of the brain, well, what's happening when the signals are being sent to the left and right hemispheres of the brain is that corpus callosum is lighting up. It's sending flashes of energy and flashes. Well, so these flashes are like a flaming sword. It is a swath of brain matter that connects the right and left hemispheres, and it looks kind of like a sword. And it lights up when signals are being sent from one side of the brain to the other side of the brain that connects those two parts of the brain. And those two parts of the brain are constantly sending signals to each other so that we can do multiple things at once. You know, as I was reading through each of these brain, each section of the brain does, you're using the brain to do a lot of different things at once. One part of the brain is in charge of speech, another part of the brain is in charge of movement. Well, look what I'm doing now. I'm talking and moving at the same time. And also when you're talking, you're moving your lips. So you're using one part of the brain to understand letters, understand numbers, and you're communicating using language, and you're moving your body all at the same time. So your brain is sending signals between the two hemispheres all the time, between the two cherubim, through the flaming sword of the corpus callosum, right? So how can we get these two angels to work together so that they can protect the tree of life, so that we can consume the tree of life and eat from the tree of life? Well, there is a phenomenon called hemi-syncing. Hemi-syncing is something that happens during meditative trances, during moments of ecstasy, during moments of spiritual awareness. In those moments, the two hemispheres of the brain sync. So it's not like one signals to the other one receiving signals, and them both constantly working, doing different things at the same time. They both sync and work harmoniously at the same time, which helps you to feel a deeper level of consciousness, higher levels of awareness, which calms the central nervous system, which calms the heart, and is soothing to the arterial system and the rest of the body. And it allows you to eat from the tree of life. It extends your life. If you can engage in hemi-syncing on a regular basis, your life will be extended. You're eating from the tree of life. You're eating from the tree of life when you're able to control the mind and bring these two seraphim, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, together, and have them send a signal that will unify them through the flaming sword of the corpus callosum. And by doing that, you awaken yourself to higher levels of consciousness, and you're able to eat from the tree of life and extend your life. You'll notice that individuals who meditate, who eat the proper foods, they live longer. How is that? Because they're eating from the tree of life that exists within them. They're eating from the tree of life that exists within them. And that's what you have to understand and remember, that all of these stories, all these biblical stories, all these stories in the Quran, all these stories in the Gita, all these stories in the Mahabharata, all these stories in the Book of Coming Forth by Day, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or the Bardo Todo, all of these stories are about us. They're not religious texts. They're biographies to tell you what you can do to tap into your own divinity within yourself. There's already a God living here. There are already angels and devils and heaven and hell. It all exists within you. There's no point in looking outward for what's already here. The tree of life is already here. You just have to ask yourself, do you know how to consume from it? Because it's not as simple as going to get something to eat. To consume from the tree of life, the two cherubim in the human body, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, have to be in sync. You have to bring peace to the mind and know how to calm brain activity through meditation, or through focus, through single pointed focus, through mindfulness, through kindness and compassion. These things calm the mind and allow both hemispheres to work together, synchronize. And then once they're synchronized, you'll be able to consume from the tree of life. Now, the next thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys, I wanted to discuss a scripture that I read. Let me see if I can find it really quickly in one moment. Now, this one is really interesting. This is a scripture. Am I sharing my screen? Let me share my screen. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so this is a scripture from the Bible that says, "I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David, the bright morning star." Notice that phrase, the bright morning star. Now, that is a phrase that was used in the Bible as well. In another instance, let me pull up this other example of when the phrase was used, the phrase the bright morning star, and it may surprise you. Let's have a look really quickly. This is it. This is from the book of Isaiah. It says, "How you have fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of the dawn. You have been cut down to the earth. You have weakened the nations." Who are they talking about in this? Well, the book of Revelation is saying that Jesus is the morning star. But here, this is a reference to a king in the Old Testament, but it's also a story that is analogous with Satan and his fall from heaven. So even though they're talking about an earthly king, they're using that story as a metaphor to discuss Satan. So Satan is the morning star as well as Jesus. Now, some of us might ask ourselves, well, is the Bible saying that Satan and Jesus are the same? Is the Bible saying that Jesus Christ and Satan are on the same level? What does it mean by saying that Jesus Christ is the morning star and Satan is the morning star as well? Well, first of all, we have to understand that when we're reading these stories, it's going to have multiple meanings. Some of the meanings are going to be historical meanings, but there's also deeper spiritual meanings as well as astral theological meanings. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Look at that term, morning star. Jesus is the morning star. Satan is the morning star. Let's go a little bit deeper. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully, I find the right one. Yes. So this particular scripture is from the book of Job, and it says, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Now, there's that phrase, morning stars. It's not saying morning star, it's saying morning star. So there's plural, there's more than one. The term sons of God is a term they use that typically depicts angels or denotes angels. In the Bible, the angels are referred to as the sons of God. So who are these morning stars that you're talking about? So that title, morning stars, must be a categorization for a different kind of celestial being. Because obviously these celestial beings that are the morning stars are of a higher order than the angels because they're being described as something separate. So in actuality, there's more than one morning star. There's two morning stars, Jesus Christ, as well as Satan the devil. Now, why? Why are they saying that there's two morning stars? It's very interesting. I looked into it a little bit deeper because I thought there was one morning star in the sky. If you look at the sky in the morning, you'll see the planet Venus rising. Right before the sun comes up, you'll see the planet Venus rising. And the ancient people called the planet Venus a morning star. Yes, Venus is a planet, but if you live in an ancient world and you look up at the sky and you see it rising up, it looks like a star that's close to the earth. So they thought the planet Venus was the morning star. So you would see the star rise up in the morning, almost as if it's challenging the sun, right? It's trying to replace the sun because it's coming up first, right before the sun comes up. The Bible refers to God as a sun and a shield. So the image of the sun is a symbolic spiritual metaphor for God. So when you see that morning star rising up, before the sun comes up, it seems almost as if it's challenging the sun, like, hey, I got here first, I'm taking over the sky. And then, of course, the sun rises, and when the sun rises, it's way more powerful, way more intense than the morning star, and the morning star has to fall, or it becomes completely and totally, you're unable to see it, almost as if it's Satan falling from the heavens. See, the story is astral theological. Now, as far as the morning stars, I found out there are actually two morning stars because Venus is the second planet as far as proximity to the sun. So the planet Venus is the morning star, but there's another smaller, more humble morning star. The smaller, more humble morning star is the planet Mercury. Now, keep in mind, this second morning star rises and it's closer to the sun. Almost like Jesus Christ, the Son of God remains loyal to his Father. So he stays close to the Father, the Son, right? He stays close to his Father, the Son. He doesn't try to outshine his Father. The planet Mercury is smaller and it shines dimmer. So it's not trying to shine as bright as the sun. It's not trying to be as luminescent as the morning star. So the morning star is shining and it's bright. It seems like it's challenging the sun. Mercury, on the other hand, rises up slowly. It's humble. It stays close to the sun. Mercury is closest to the sun, just as if the Son of God remains close to the Father. So if the sun is a symbol, right, for God, then the planet that is closest to the sun Mercury, when it rises, it's also a morning star, but it's a more humble morning star. It's a loyal morning star because it's so close to the sun. It follows the sun in all things that it does. So there's two morning stars. See, these stories are not just stories about fallen kings and stories about God and the devil. These stories are also astral theological. So it's using the planets and the movements of the planets as a metaphor for what's happening within us and what's happening within society. So there's two morning stars: Christ, the morning star; Lucifer, the morning star. But what happens to Lucifer, the morning star, when the sun rises? It obliterates the overly ambitious Lucifer. It obliterates the devil. It obliterates the pompous and destructive morning star. And it says, nope, I'm God. I'm still here. I know you want to take over the heavens, just like the morning star rises up early in the morning before the sun is fully there, and it tries to take over the sky and take over the heavens. Same thing with these movements of the planets. That morning star, the planet Venus, is trying to take over the heavens, and then God rises and says, nope, I'm still here. Right? Just like when the planet Mercury has to set, it becomes the evening star at night, and then it has to set. What happens after it sets? It rises again. It rises up again. Just like Christ died and rose up. Christ died and rose up again on the third day. Same thing with that planet Mercury. The other morning star was transformed into the evening star in the Western world, and then dies, and then it returns once again in the eastern sky. So all of these stories are deeply symbolic. They're talking about you. They're talking about the heavens. The heavens exist within you. Understand, these stories are your biographies and your autobiographies. They're all about you. But yeah, I definitely feel that the depth of the stories in the Bible and the knowledge in the stories of the Bible are so profound. You can keep peeling back layers forever. You can peel back layers of these stories for all of eternity. It's such an interesting thing, and it's very, very beautiful. I don't know who is sending me these signals, and it's not stopping, and it's driving me insane. Anyhow, let me call it a day now. I'm going to conclude, and I will speak to you guys sometime soon. I'm gonna do another video tomorrow or Sunday, and I'll see y'all then. Peace and blessings.